And good morning. Welcome to your Thursday. It is March the 16th, 2023. Frogs and all. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. Excuse me, about to bring you things you might have heard for today, which were yesterday things, ensuing that the throat I woke up and I can breathe. I'm glad to be a part of this show for you, bringing you to the best, the latest from yesterday in information and politics and current events and pop culture. As your go-to source for unconventional news, we have plenty of that, plus some conventional news, including some updates on coming up updates on some of the things happening with the fighter jets and the drone happening, although that's more of a teaser thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. We want to remind you that you can go to our main website, which is thisisaconversationproject.com, and you can see more details about what we do behind the scenes and what things we're bringing up there. And that saves me another minute and a half of the opening. So let's get to the stuff. We have 8 news stories that were vetted by you and, of course, curated by me here. We'll talk more about how that happens at the end of the headlines. Give us about 10, 12 minutes to knock that out. So let's go on to story number 1 right now. A local story, a smaller story, but something that popped up in my local feed, so I put it in there to see what would happen. And this one was the most engaged story of the day yesterday. It was extremely heavily trafficked, if you will, for bad lack of a better word. It got about 20% of all engagement of the entire morning, or day, I should say, for this morning here. The headline: Little Rock man charged with capital murder after violently shaking death of infant son. And this is not much to it because it's a local story written pretty quickly for a newscast, and it's basically a little video clip of what happened. And this is about Demetric Green Jr., who's 30 years old. He's being charged with capital murder after a 6-week-old infant son died following injuries consistent with violent shaking. Now, police first had him on the charges not of capital murder. The first notified of the injuries from about the child when he was dropped off at Arkansas Children's Hospital on Friday. And then at the time, police said Green was charged with first-degree battery, and then was infant died sooner after that. They changed it up to capital murder. We will follow this one here locally because this is one of those types of stories. And as we get more details on the grander scale, we'll put it into the feeds here, and you can tell us whether we keep talking about it, so you can keep update on this one. This is one I'm sure you want to get more updates on, so we will do what we can to update you on this as it progresses. Not a national story, but it's just a story here locally for me that drew my attention and yours as well. Second highest score of the day goes to this story, and this one got about 12% of the engagement, so a lot on these two. This one I figure is going to happen. New Pornhub doc. Let me transition to the next Chiron. New Pornhub doc reveals abuse that moderating missed. Why I can't speak today. New Pornhub doc reveals abuse that moderating missed. There, it's English. So the new documentary on Netflix on Pornhub called Money Shot, the Pornhub story, revealed a lot of details. The biggest thing out of it is the fact that there are moderators who are dealing through thousands and thousands of porn every single day. That's what they do. They just look at things that are uploaded to make sure that they're not, one, copyright permissions, because there's that, and two, not really, really, really horrible in the sense of what it could be. Child porn, revenge porn, torture porn, things like that. And what they say is, of all the ones that go through that get moderated, there are some misses. And the ones that get missed are apparently pretty big problems at Pornhub. You can go deeper into this story. There's a lot of going into on this story here. Or you can check out the documentary on Netflix, which I'll probably check out coming up this weekend because Pornhub is a big part of us. Unfortunately, I put up a Pornhub story and you guys engage. That happens. But we're going to go deeper into the actual details of what happens and kind of have that as a recap. And so you know some of the inner workings of the things. Now, remember, just because you may not be a fan of porn doesn't mean porn does not exist on its own. So you might want to know what's going on behind the scenes so you're a bit more informed about what's happening instead of just saying it's just sick people doing icky stuff, because it's a bit more complicated. It's always more complicated than that. This one also very complicated. A clickbaitish headline we pulled from Fox News, which basically is a puff piece on Kelly Clarkson. And the headline says, Kelly Clarkson's kids tell her they wish mommy and daddy were in the same house after divorce, which is something a lot of kids believe. But Clarkson basically asks her kids every night if they're happy, and if not, what could make them happier. And sometimes they say, we wish mommy and daddy were living together because they're pretty young, and it's hard to at the concept of why they're not together. But their children are pretty much independent, she says, and as soon as they get old enough to kind of go their own thing, they'll probably leave the house. She's pretty sure of that, and she's not have a problem with that. But she basically talked about, how she got to the point of divorce and what was happening in the marriage and things like that. And it was just a matter of she had to do the split because it just their marriage wasn't working for her and I guess in general for everyone. She is going to put a new album very soon, and she describes it as being filled with heartbreak and rage, which, as a way to, I guess, release those emotions, I guess being a top-selling artist in the market can do that. People will listen to your heartbreak, and rage songs if you are Kelly Clarkson. Here's a guy people listen to a lot over the past couple of years, Ryan Reynolds. He's going to sell his wireless company, that's Mint Mobile, for more than $1 billion. Mint Mobile is going to be brought into the T-Mobile 5G network very soon, and Ryan's is selling most of his stake into the actual deal. Now, how much is not quite there because he's going to keep some managing operations part of Mint Mobile. He will still own a piece of the action, if you will. He sold Aviation Gin earlier to Diego in 2020 for about $610 million. So he's a guy that knows how to build things up and sell them off. He's right now having a lot of fun, apparently, and just enjoying the spoils of working with the European Soccer League, the league that he bought there. And he's, earned the right to buy up stuff and sell things off and things going. Ryan Reynolds, very funny and very personable actor, so people love him for that. Also, making the money the old-fashioned way, earning it. The Bella Twins are announcing they're leaving WWE, and they are reclaiming their last name, so they'll no longer be Nikki and Brie Bella. They will be Nikki and Brie Garcia, their actual names. They're not going to return to any WWE products, so everything in the past is past. They're not going to do any more production stuff, and they'll probably do a whole lot less extra promotional stuff for the WWE because they're leaving the company. But they're trying to go on their own and do other things. Now, Nikki Bella recently married Artem Sigvijvez. Totally butchered that. After a long deal and had a little TV show on that one. Brie Bella, married to wrestler named Bryan Danielson, who was known in WWE back as Daniel Bryan. Now he's back to Bryan Danielson. He's working in a different company and will probably not return to WWE as well. So with that, you're done with the Bella Twins. So there's that. What does that mean for any other big-time talent that tries to leave other talent they're circling around, i.e. the WWE? Well, there's other options these days. You see what's happening with the former or the semi-former Sasha Banks, now Mercedes Moné, and of course many folks who jumped ship from WWE to AWE, and they're different names. Most of them different names. Some of them got to keep their names because there are their names. Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy, so folks like that kept their names because it's their names. Cody Rhodes, of course, helped build the AWE and brought back things with that one in his WWE run here because they're kosher. It's one of those things on those levels. We're going to get some more southern states doing southern state stuff in a bit, but right now, let's do this story here. South Carolina GOP lawmaker considers death penalty for people who have abortions. This is not parody. This is truth. Lawmakers are considering a bill that would make the death penalty a viable option for persons who have abortions. The bill provides exceptions for pregnant people who've had an abortion due to intermittent death or great bodily injury, but a person who gets pregnant who then has an abortion is being told it is straight up murder, and they may be put up for charges and the death penalty. We're going to let that sink in for just a quick minute and let you go with that one. However you feel about the abortion issue, this has to be a bit on the extreme side. And if you don't think it is, let me know. Let's talk about this one. This is, in all seriousness, a very big, very heavy weight on an issue that I believe is an extreme overreach. Some people, apparently people who are smarter than me, who are in legislatures who can run things, believe it is the perfect solution, or at least that's what they are presenting to us. Here's another odd head scratcher that is a bit of a heavy story, but you got to kind of go with it. Man who secretly removed a condom is convicted of stealthing by Dutch court. Let me get you a couple details on this one. A Dutch court convicted a man of stealthing and ordered him to pay €1,000 in damages to his victim. The court said the man restricted his partner's personal freedom and abused the trust she had placed in him. The case of the first stealthing conviction in the Netherlands is part of a growing global awareness of the nuances of consent, with surveys indicating incidence rates ranging from 8 to 42% of women and 5 to 19% of men who have had sex with men. The federal legislation that would have allowed victims to seek compensation for stealthing has not made it past committee. California has expanded its sexual battery laws to include stealthing here particularly, so it's something that is growing. The conviction drew largely on WhatsApp messages between people and the victim of what's going on. And what happened is, as you said, a couple consented to sex. A man and woman were having sex. A man had a condom, and then in the middle of the action, took off the condom and basically broke the consent that was already there. Let's go on to our final story. A much happier story, much lighter story, because we need some of this on this day. Let's go to Will Ferrell, who showed up at a Texas Road Steakhouse, and fans watched him eat a 72-ounce steak. Will Ferrell ate at the Big Texas Steak Ranch in Amarillo, Texas on Saturday, and was photographed sitting in front of their famous 72-ounce steak challenge, surrounded by cameras and smiling at onlookers. The Big Texan Steakhouse Ranch oozes Lone Star State pride, from the mashed potatoes, massively cowboy boot outside, and the Texas-sized steak challenge. On the Talladega Nights star got his hands on one where he sat down, dressed up as Sherlock Holmes, which got draws from the crowd, and people cheered him on as he went on the steak challenge. It is still unknown if he was able to complete the challenge. Maybe we'll see that on a video somewhere. Let's go to our teaser story for today. This is a story that if you deem it necessary to chat about tomorrow, we will chat it up all segment long when we get the segment, I guess. Not quite all day long. But as it pops up in the segment here, inside of things you might have heard for Friday, this is your headline for this morning that we could talk about for tomorrow. U.S. military releases footage of Russian fighter jet forcing down American drone over Black Sea. Now, yesterday, we had I guess 2 days ago, all the hullabaloo about this incident where Russian fighter jet, two of them were basically messing with a drone that we had floating over the Red Sea, or flying over the Black Sea. So the encounter itself was about 30 minutes. And the Russians said, oh, no, we did nothing wrong at all. Although the then drone footage, oddly enough, release shows that the moments, not the full 30 minutes, but they released pieces or the moments where the Russians were releasing fuel onto the drone to hopefully kind of scuttle it a bit. And then the camera goes dead, and the camera comes back live. It's shown that one of its propellers are now split in half, which would only happen if you basically bump the drone. The Americans basically sent the drone to the sea. They hit a couple buttons, didn't quite self-destruct, but wiped its software, killed all its technology that was viable, and let it go to the sea for hopefully it won't be found. The Russians tried to find it. The Americans with no assets in the Black Sea can't get to it. Now, I've talked way too much about the story, but there it is. We can go deeper into the whole deal tomorrow if this is one you deem chat-worthy. Go to our Facebook and Twitter feeds, facebook.com/This is a Conversation Project, and twitter.com/th_conversation. Like, love, hate, share, engage in the story, and if the story is worthy of the love or the hate or the chatter, we will give it that honor tomorrow. 8 stories tomorrow, as well as we do on Friday, on Tuesdays through Fridays. Today's main sponsor is Flowers Fast! ! Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/Flowers Fast! And get your flowers fast. Flowers Fast can help take care of you when you need flowers for a great occasion, especially if they're same day. If you make your order with Flowers Fast, they are connected to all the FTD florists around the nation, and they can possibly get your order in same day without any issue. And it's not just flowers, it's all the different bouquet settings, all the different candy settings, all the different gift settings that you can get from an FTD florist. Check them out at Flowers Fast today. This is the conversationproject.com/flowersfast is our link to our affiliate, and we get a commission from your purchase. But keep in mind, we can use it. So check it out at Flowers Fast, because maybe you need to check out those flowers on your own and do it pretty fast. Let's talk about the Conversation Project right now. Let's talk about our little puppy-eyed tiered look as we talk about our partnerships page. This is a conversation partnership. This is conversationproject.com is our website, and there you can see our partnerships page, which allows you to directly partner up with us here for the show and other things we do with the Conversation Project and some of the other projects we have going on for More Better Media. If we're giving you content that you deem worthy of being good enough and smart enough and gosh darn pretty awesome, we're looking for some help. We're looking to gain $200 of extra recurring revenue every month and secure that up by the end of March. We're getting close. We're getting there, but not quite there. So if you have a ways to give us a little bit of dollars, we're not looking for a large substantial thing. Like right now, we're looking for a little bit of stuff right now to help sustain stuff and keep it going. Stop by the website. This is theconversationproject.com. Click on partnerships and see if there's a way we can work out there together. Also, plenty of other things to do with us and our podcasts. All of them are there at the Conversation Project's website. Now, let's get to the fun stuff. All your money and your work in the partnerships helps us do this stuff as well, because we pay for a service to help get the information for these things. This service, yes, I pay for a service to tell me whose birthday it is. And today's birthdays happens to be Nancy Wilson, turning 69 years old on the day. Flav hitting 64 today, and Lauren Graham with 56 on the day. Those three beautiful people, or at least two in Flavor Flav, hitting birthdays on the day after the Ides of March. Had a lot of fun with that yesterday. Today, we're going on to celebrate Panda Day, because pandas are adorable, pandas are lovely, pandas will kill you, and pandas apparently aren't very good at procreating, which is why there's so few pandas on the planet. But they're cute. They're not cuddly, but they're cute. And Panda Day is our celebration day for the day. So go out there and not hug a panda, but enjoy panda stuff, if there's panda stuff nearby for you to enjoy. Today in history, so what happened on the 16th of March back in 1802? Congress authorized the establishment of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, New York. West Point born this day in 1802, way back when. Back in 1994, figure skater Tanya Harding pleaded guilty in Portland, Oregon to conspiracy for covering up the attack on Nancy Kerrigan. Remember, why? Yes, all that stuff. When she had some guy basically whack her in the knee with a pole while she was practicing ice skating because she won her spot in the Olympics. Luckily, Tanya Harding did have a bit of a weirdness stage, but has come back to a state of more just normalcy, if you will. Not doing much for at this point because there's not a lot of love, not a lot of need for Tanya Harding. So 1 year later, oddly enough, Mississippi formally ratified the 13th Amendment, becoming the last state to approve the abolition of slavery. The 13th Amendment was officially ratified in 1865. Math tells you that's almost 130 years for the amendment was put before for the nation for Mississippi to get around to it. Once again, proving in Mississippi why it is last in pretty much everything. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. The eyes have your attention from the moment you meet someone. But how much are you trusted may be simple as being born with brown eyes. Yes, brown-eyed people are deemed more trustworthy, not necessarily, but research now reveals that the reason behind our bias towards trusting brown-eyed people more than those with any other eye color. Researchers in an Australian study used personally personality questionnaires in their work, which revealed that dark-eyed Northern Europeans are more agreeable and less competitive than their light-eyed counterparts. That blue-eyed devil may actually be the devil. The darker a North European's eye color, the more likely they are to be altruistic, sympathetic to others, and eager to help. More likely. Conversely, lighter-eyed people are more likely to be observed as competitive, egocentric, and skeptical of others' intentions. More likely. So this is not a universal truth. My brown eyes do not make me, a saint, but I'm more likely to be a nice guy, which I think I'm a nice guy. I like to think I'm a nice guy. But I also think that we're done for the day, so let's wrap it up because we're a little early, so we're going to keep on that trend. Thursday, March the 16th, 2023. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. This has been things you might not have heard for this day we listed, and hopefully you've learned a couple things, and hopefully you've grown a little bit, and hopefully you are willing to actually help us learn and grow as well by offering up some help in our partnership campaign. Go to thisistheconversationproject.com/partnerships and see how you can partner up us directly. Visit our sponsors page and you can, help us out indirectly. And of course, make sure you are following the feed so you are actually helping getting the work done. You are helping us vote the stories up for the day. Stay hydrated, stay limber, stay on task. Great things ahead for all of us. So let's get here, keep on going. I will see you on tomorrow's edition, one more day of things you might not have heard for your Friday, even though they all happened on Thursday.